I think it's like a speaker. I think speaker has some starting problem. I think so is the mic that's attached to him. I think I'll come down from the stage. To start with, I think the reason for me to be amongst you, this is a time that I need to do appraisal, increment rollout, etc., promotions, etc., for about 4 businesses, month of May, June. The only reason for me to come down, take the train, I think some of your colleagues who are traveling with me, probably they would not have thought that I'm going to be the speaker this afternoon, right? Yesterday they were just sitting next to my coach. The only reason for me coming over is nothing but I think it's Thiru. Really happy that you honored me by calling me over. I think you are such experienced people sitting over here, handling different businesses in different parts of the country. Other thing what excited me was being part of a company which is into core businesses, right? I think that's something that excited me because there's a general tendency the core businesses practices are at the surface level or they ride the crest. Not really. I think to my understanding, having worked 35 years, I think the depth is far more. I think I'm happy to be amongst you who's handling cement business, who is part of, you're into textile also, no, is it? Okay, a little bit. And tires, etc. I think it's hardcore connected business where you really need to touch the customer on a continuous basis. The people that whom you handle actually are visible to the customers and they have an umbilical cord built to the customers. So it's wonderful to be with you. Difficult for me to talk about global HR competencies, okay? Competency itself is a little bit of a fussy word, right? So I would like to get the understanding right now. While going through the slides, I think I had been through the Raw School of Business. That's when I had been the opportunity to go through what the global competencies are. Some of it I will share with you. I'm not a master as that. I said, learning happens all the time on a continuous basis. I'm in the same boat as you are, right? So the topic what is given to me is the global HR competencies. First, I will have a few questions for the group. Somebody who's my age group, minus 5, 6, minus 10, etc., who are heading HR function, I'm sure that they're learned people. I think we'll give the opportunity to the younger people to reflect on what it is all about. First question, I think I would like some younger faces to answer this. What is competency? I would like a sharp answer, and the sharp answer would get a spot award. What is competency? Yeah, the gentleman in the blue shirt raised his hand. A set of behavior required to perform a particular job. Okay? Now, it's good. It's closer. All that I'll leave you at this point of time, a thought is, we are talking about technical functional competency that enables me to deliver a job. Okay? Just keep that at the back of the mind. The gentleman over there, somebody guys, yeah.
So, competency consists of knowledge, skill, and ability.
Okay? Little general motherhood definition. I will come back. One more. Yeah, I think he raised the hand first, so I'll go to him, then I'll come to you.
Competency means a combination of skill, knowledge, and behavior to perform a particular activity.
This answer is a cousin brother of the other answer. Yeah, go ahead, move ahead. I think I'll go to him, then come back. I think you are closer to me, maybe minus 5 age group. I think so we'll leave it the opportunity for youngster for some time. Yeah.
It's the underlying characteristic of a person which helps him to perform a job in a competitive and better manner and add business value.
Closer. Who else? I think I'll ask lady. What about you? You're looking very bright, ma'am. Please go ahead. Attempt an answer.
Competency.
Yep.
Competency is something like a task given to me and my performance which is gauged by my manager.
Okay. One next.
Competency is an observable behavior which can be objectively assessed and can be modified.
I think she deserves the spot award. The closest answer that we got. I think that's inducing. I think that in fact there's a spot award. It's set up and you can give it to her. I think let's give her a big hand. 35 years, I think. Please give it to her. I'll tell you something. Let me be open. I think I don't have to hide anything. I believe there are some 20 people, aligned people. Okay? Doesn't matter. We'll shed ourselves in front of you. 35 years, half the time I've handled the function without knowing. Right? The sharper we are, the precise answer that we have, the better respect that we'll get from the line people. Okay? Simple definition. I think I interact with Prahlad quite a bit. Prahlad is the managing director for Thomas International. Right? I think 7 years I've been interacting, earlier to that, but 7 years the interaction has been closer. Just keep this in mind all the time. Simple 2 words, please do not forget till you are in this profession. Competency is nothing but 3 words, behavior in action. Okay? Anybody talks about competency, it is behavior in action. Okay? Now, what is the difference between competency and test and a personality test? Competency assessment and personality assessment. I'm not trying to make you feel small. I felt small number of times, so don't worry about it. I'm in the same boat. If you ask me some other question, if Aaron asks me some other question, I may not be able to answer. Right? I prepared this in this subject, so that's why I'm able to ask these questions. What is the difference between personality assessment and competency assessment? Just attempt. You'll get one more spot award. Come on.
Personality assessments are basically related to your internal and already embedded behaviors, whereas competency-based assessments are basically what you acquire over the period of
I think she deserves it. But I don't know one more. Okay, yes. Come forward. I think give it through, let through give it. I think she'll feel happy. Come through. Let's give her a big hand. Quickly.
Same department, they will say it'll be a big question.
No match fixing here. You must have done MBTA, yes or no? Right? MBTA is all about personality assessment. Right? Now, what is Thomas International? What is Thomas assessment? Thomas profiling. That's about behavior. Now, my personality remains fixed. Right? Unless they say every 5 years there's a slight modification. Mostly our personality remains static. Right? Whereas Thomas profiling talks about with this personality, how this person is able to modify himself to the work context, okay, when he's under pressure, or what is his natural self. You love those 3 graphs, no? The 3 graph is all about how this person is able to modify his personality to the given context. Clarified? So please do not, keep asking my team. I've done this almost for a year. In every HRV, I ask them the question, what is competency? Now, most of them, most times say, it's behavior in action. Right? Now, what is personality? Personality is something static. It talks about myself, what I am. Okay? Competency is not about that. Competency is all about behavior. Clarified? Okay. Now, why competency? It's very loosely used words. That's why line people take us for a ride. Right? When they talk about competency, they will confuse us with technical competency. Then they will talk about behavioral competency. We are unable to define the difference between technical competency, behavioral competency, and the organizational competency. Can anyone of you differentiate these 3? Technical, behavioral, organizational. Come on, I'm sure this entire group all put together would have about 10,000 years of HR exposure. 10,000, 12,000, 15,000, whatever. Yes, ma'am. Hindu, she belongs to your office, Thiru? Okay. Yeah, please go ahead.
Organizational competency is basically referring to core competencies which should be consistently present in all the employees. And behavioral competencies are the observable behavior which are related to managerial or leadership skills. And technical competency relates to the observable behaviors which are used to perform a specific job.
Which college you're from, Hindu? Wonderful. I think that's the right answer. Technical competency enables you to deliver a job. Okay? I'm a metallurgist. What does it mean? Okay, metallurgist is not the right example. I'm a rubber technologist. What does it mean? I need to understand the basic rubber as a raw material, right? I need to understand as a commodity how the season has been next 2 years, whether season is going to be good, no rains, etc., right? I need to understand rubber as a material. I need to understand black carbon, right? Now, that actually enables me to be a person who has the fundamental technical skills for him to perform in JK tires. Yes or no? Cement, one has to understand where the raw materials available, what is the processing cost, what is the technological changes that is taking place in the machinery, what is FL Smith working on 5 years from now. Now, as a person who is sitting in the cement business, will have to understand the technologies. Now, that's what he has to assess while recruiting a person. Yes or no? Technical competency. Second one, what we spoke about. She spoke about the leadership competencies. What are those? For a particular job, when you recruit a person, if you assume that you are recruiting a general manager, vice president, maintenance, I think maintenance person does not have a great leadership influencing quality. Does he have to have? Does he have to have? Yes or no? Yes or no? Right? Yes or no? I mean, if he is able, if he is thorough in this job, understands the science of maintenance, understands what preventive maintenance is, understand what TPM is all about, understand what manager model machine is, understand what Thakao says, etc., he can be a great maintenance person. But imagine a salesperson who has to influence thousands of JK dealers across the country. Does he have to have an influencing quality or not? He has to have an influencing quality. So that quality is all about the leadership one that he is talking about. Then what is the third competency what we are speaking? Huh? So what is organizational competency? I'm coming to the slide a little later, but I'm bouncing off the question right away. So what are the organizational competencies? Anybody can speak to me on what competency mapping is all about. I will give him the mega award of today. If any one of you, other than the leadership sitting over here, other than Indu Singh, if anybody, I'm banning you now. Okay, the first time you didn't get it?
Second.
Oh, second one is it? Okay, we'll give it to you. Okay, you will do a hat trick. I just prevented you from doing that. Now, can anyone explain to me what competency mapping is all about? Some of those younger people sitting over there, talk to me in 2-3 lines what competency mapping is all about. Boss, read books, talk to people. When you get Thiru comes to your plant, tell him, boss, tell me some of the new concept. Tell me, shamelessly ask questions. The more shameless that you are, the better respect that you get from the line people. Where are the line people? Can you raise your hands? So production person, maintenance person, etc. What do you think they lack in HR people? Clarity?
Competency, I would like to spell. There are 5 levels, as you ask in the question. The level 1 to 5, level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, level 5. Organization required maybe level 4. While joining, his competency is level 1. So we have to match by giving training to him. Then
that's clear functional. You talk about master coach, you talk about training, etc. That is the stages of expertise in a particular technical competency. I'm not coming to that at all. Okay. Yeah, please go ahead.
In my view, competency...
No, not in your view. You please tell me what competency mapping is.
Competency mapping, it all starts with the organizational goals. First, an organization should decide the goals, and to achieve that goals, what are all the competencies required? As you said, organizational competency, technical competency, and behavior competency. And what is the level of HR having that competency?
When once I put my hand, I think you need to go back to the book of Dr. Uday Parikar, one of those on competency mapping. Yeah.
So, I think each person has their own competency. As per organization,
I think he sat next to my cabin yesterday. He sat at me yesterday. I was a little scared of him. Please go ahead. What's your name?
Arogiraj.
Arogiraj. Oh, please go ahead, Arogiraj. You sat next to me, no?
Yes, sir.
You came and gave tough looks to me. Okay, come.
I mistook you for the TTR.
Because I had the jacket on. Yes. Not bad. Okay, good. That's why you took it off now.
It is the scaling or assessment of gap between what is required and what is present.
Now, interestingly, before you get into it, I'm actually planning to put my entire team in the next 1-year journey, something called HR Smart. What is HR Smart? Smart is don't worry about it, not somebody who looks like me. Just keep that aside for the time being. Nobody's laughing through. Okay, now we are actually going to put people through a program by which they actually learn the fundamental things, new things that's happening in the HR field. So next year, the entire team would go, every month they will undergo a module for about a day and a half, which will actually fundamentally clarify things to the team. We've got people from the age group of 23, Aaron? 23, I think we've got that Mahesh is about 52, 53. All of them will undergo, including me. I don't know what big data is. How many of you know what big data is? I know you'll raise your hands and we'll start answering. Honestly, I don't know what big data is. All that example that I can give is, the example for big data is, all the aircrafts, at any point of time, there are about 45,000, 50,000 aircrafts flying across the world, globe, right? There is one supercomputer in the US. Before the aircraft takes off, the weather path the pilot needs to know the weather path so that both the air traffic control, as I'm interested a little bit on the aircraft, so I pick up this knowledge. Both the air traffic control as well as the pilot decides the path that he needs to go. So for all the aircrafts taking off in the world, there is a supercomputer sitting in the US, which actually half an hour before takeoff of the flight, that will give the ideal critical path for him so that he avoids those air pockets, turbulence, etc., etc. Now, that supercomputer does analysis and throws information. Now, to me, definition of big data is that. For years together, that actually has picked up data, analyzes, comes out with inferences. They will also predict next 2-3 years how it's going to be. It's the way that you do things now, that how your employment scene is going to be, what is going to be future of work, etc., etc. Big data is all about dealing with massive complexity to come with inferences that would be meaningful to your function or meaning to a business. Okay, why I came this to us, we do not understand some of the fundamental things, whereas we talk about it a lot. I'm getting back to competency mapping. If HR people ask HR person, I do not understand competency mapping, it's a big gap. Over to the gentleman there.
Sir, so what happens in the process is the best performers are interviewed and the desirable behaviors, they are collected and they are put into a club, and then these a competency.
Let's give him a big hand. Let's give him a big hand. What's your name?
Shikhar.
You have been through any of the process earlier?
No.
Okay, excellent. I think he came to the closest answer. I think you'll get a spot about. Aaron would like to. You want through to walk too long. I think I'll give it to this gentleman, Tabomai. He's part of your team? Extended. Let's give him a big hand. Okay, let me try to oversimplify what competency mapping is all about. CEO has the vision for the company. CEO, the senior team, has the vision for the company. We want JK Tires to become a $5 billion company. You are already? $5 billion? No. Okay. $5 billion company from 5 years from now. That's the vision the CEO has got. That's the vision Mr. Singhania has for the group. Right? Now, that's a vision. So, the person who's doing competency mapping will actually sit with the CEO and find out, and he'll pick up, more or less, he'll pick up 2-3 attributes that will enable the organization to deliver this. That's number one. Then he will meet up with 50, size of the organization, 50, 100, 150, 200, consistent high performers of the company. He will go and sit down with them, talk to them, interview them, right? Then he will find out a few attributes that's coming across those people in a common manner. Right? Assume that he comes to JK Tires, he sits with Deb, he sits with Pandey, he sits with Indu Singh, etc. They will sit down with us, try to find out what made us successful. Okay? Now, after doing the analysis, they will say, these are some of those 4 or 5 characters. This makes the people successful. People success means what? Making the organization successful. So, therefore, if this organization needs to become a greatly successful organization 5 years from now, the behavior reflected by Dev, the behavior reflected by Pandey, it has to be reflected by every living organic system in the organization. Am I connecting? After lunch, it is complex or easy? Right? They will pick up those behaviors. Now, these behaviors will become the 10 commandments of your Bible. What are those 10 commandments? The people who reflect this behavior more and more and more, those are the people who will be recruited in the company. The people who actually demonstrate this behavior more and more, those are the people who will be taken up in the organization faster. The people who are reflecting this behavior more and more, those are the people who will be invested upon, like a set of people who are kept inside the, right, who are kept as the top material who will take your organization forward. Okay? So, organizational competency means simply, those are behaviors which you would like to see in those individuals, which will take our organization from X to X plus 3, X plus 4. Have you communicated? Yes or no? Can I ask questions now? You understood everything or you not understood anything? It's an effect of that roti, and I think they gave some chicken also. Right? It is simple. Right? keep this in mind. Whenever somebody speaks of organizational competency, it is that behavior, those attributes which will make the organization successful through the people whom we are dealing with. Okay? So when you recruit, you put those competencies in place and you have an assessment. Some battery which will enable you to say that this competency is available in Dev 9 out of 10. In Pandey it is 7 out of 10. In Muthu it is 4 out of 10. So Muthu at this point of time, we keep him aside. Put them through a development center. In development center, what gets assessed? These competencies will get assessed, not the technical competencies. For leadership, technical competency is a, come again. Technical competency is a, who said given? Oh, I think wonderful. I think let's give him a big hand. And if you can give an award, please give an award. But okay. The technical competency, the functional competency is something given. When you put in a development center, the x-axis, y-axis, x-axis is performance, that's given. That's why you brought him to development center, right? It's a y-axis where you actually assess the competency of people. How competency mapping is done, journey of competency. I think I've given you a brief on what competency is all about. What is competency? Wonderful. Behavior in action. Don't forget till you retire. There is a difference between functional competency, which is your technical competency, leadership competency, and organizational competency. Let me tell you, you talk with this confidence, which I gained only in the past 5 to 6 years, right? But still I have grown. So you'll also grow. I mean, all of us will grow, right? Talk with confidence, talk with clarity, right? Now it's a choice of the line people, choice of the management to decide what they want to do. As a HR person, I can only be an enabler in making the things happen. Yes or no? Your function and my function is a facilitating function, right? An enabling function, not a dictating function. Salesperson can tell the boss, unless you sell this tire at 6,200 rupees, the competition is selling this at 5,800 rupees. JK has got some premium, but don't overuse the premium. Now, he can talk with authority, not you and me. Yes or no? So, the more clarity that we have on this, the better value add that we will be giving to the business. Oh, the clarity is not good. What is on top? Let me try to read it out. I spoke about this on the left extreme, dark brown color is nothing but just its competencies mentioned over there. Then next one I told you, you actually see the behavior. Third one, this behavior will lead to delivery. The delivery will lead to results. So if somebody tells you competency makes no meaning, what will you tell them? What will you tell them? Come on. Competency will bring results. There is a chain. Right competency, yes or no? Right behavior, right delivery, right results. You're looking a little stunned. I'm just pulling your legs. Okay. Now again, I oversimplify this. Can any one of you tell me what HR function is? One line. Don't tell me it's a process of identifying talent, getting the talent to the company, recruiting, right? Just one line, HR. Huh? Facilitator is a role, but what's the functions? What is HR function? If I'm a college student, I've just completed my degree. So boss, you have been in HR for 30 years. Tell me what HR function is all about. Huh? That's a start to end point. It's like, Mysore to Bangalore, Volvo bus. Oh, that's close. Nice. How many of you have done Gallup? Raise your hands. How many of you have done the people engagement survey Gallup? How many of you read the book First Break All the Rules? Okay, can any one of you answer me that what HR function is all about? Now, please take this. I think it's an old book, 10, 12 years old book, does not matter. Please read the book called First Break All the Rules. Through just buy one copy free for all of them. Wonderful. I think even he is closer. Excellent. You're a line person, you're able to define. Any other simplified form?
Enabling business.
Okay, anybody simplified form? Okay, let me try. I tell this to college students, whoever wants to know what HR function is all about. If in an organization, if an employee feel like coming to office in the morning, how many of you feel so in the morning? Touch your heart. Okay, nice. No, Monday morning, all days morning. Even if I call Aaron on Sunday in the morning, he feels like coming to office. Yes or no, Aaron? Yes, okay. Right? I think our job is to make people feel like coming to the company. Simple definition. If an organization is able to make people come to the organization in the morning, when he goes back, he feels he has value added. The best HR function on earth is this function. Right? It's, once they asked Sunil, I used to work for Airtel, that time, I think Weaker, one of the magazines interviewed him. They asked him a question, smart man he is. They asked him a question, what is so different about your culture? You know what he said? My employees look forward to Monday. How many organizations can make this statement that my employees look forward to Monday? Raise your hand, please don't. Throws around. Right? Now your job and my job, in oversimplified form, is making people to come to company on Monday. Right? Now how does it happen? It happens through the kind of role what you give it to him, whose job it is. The defining the role more or less lies with us. Second, grooming the manager to excite the employee to come to the company. End of the day, who actually motivates the employee? Tell me. HR? Take a walk. That's what I would say. Somebody said line manager. Who's the person? Wonderful. It's a line manager who the person reports to actually can make an employee look forward to Monday. Third is leadership, policy, vision, branding of the company, positioning of the company, etc., etc., etc. It's a line manager. It's a line manager who can actually retain an employee if he wants to go out of the company. Yes or no? Right? It's a line person who's the manager who can make the difference. Now, we as an HR function, grooming those managers, investing in those managers to become great people manager is our job. Right? So I'll go back to this now. HR creates value by increasing performance and agility of the talent. One more question. What is one of the most critical, whatever I do in my company, why am I doing? Now, have you thought about this? Each one of you is holding a position. Whatever that you do in your organization, why are you doing? Huh? Huh? We are getting paid. Getting? We are getting paid. Paid, oh, okay. Maslow's, we are still at the bottommost need. Okay, go ahead. Why is our existence? Keep this in mind. It's a dirty word, which we don't even like that to get into our head. We are here to increase the productivity of each person coming into the company. In fact, I got a project presentation on that. Your job and my job is nothing but increasing the productivity of the people who are coming to the organization. In their job, in sales, in anything that you talk about, your job is productivity. If there is no productivity, please don't be in this job. Go and join ActionAid. Yes or no? ActionAid job is not increasing the bottom line or the top line. ActionAid job is what? Social service, right? Now, if you're in a commercial organization, it's all about productivity. Now, I'm coming back to that. So therefore, right? Now, by increasing the performance and agility of the talent, what is available, that is the human capital. Second part, the organization capability is all about culture. So once I spoke about competency mapping, what it is related to. When you talk about culture, please do not talk about the philanthropic culture of JK Group or TAFE or Murugappa Group. Okay? That's a owner's prerogative. Now the governance defines that 2% should go to your CSR. Keep that aside. Culture means what? Culture means it's all about having those attributes, set up norms to that organic system that enables better productivity. So if you're talking about agility of the talent and culture of the organization, now this is where HR is. Question number 1. Are you able to connect to the first paragraph? Yes or no? Okay, I'll come back. Second, delivering this value defines the required skills and competencies expected of an effective HR professional. Now only I'm coming to the subject. Right? We are talking about the competencies of an HR person. Till now, we spoke about organizational competency, leadership competency, what competency is all about, and competency mapping. Okay, some of you seem to have had a lot of lunch. Let me ask a question just to wake you up, people. Some of you, not all of you. I think most of you are attentive. Now, how many of you can at least say 3 competencies defined by NHRD network, National HRD network, about 5 years back? Just 3 of them. Please go back. I think Google, I think if I ask her about iPhone, what are the futures difference between iPhone 7 and iPhone 6, she will tell me iPhone 6 and iPhone 7s, she will tell me in a minute's time, yes sir ma'am. Yes or no? See, look at that. Now please get into Google, find out, at least before the session, after the session, get into Google, find out the define HR competencies defined by National HR work. A lot of work they did, but nothing moved forward. Doesn't matter, but those are the attributes one needs to have as an HR person. Okay, so the first part, how many of you heard of this person by name David Ulrich? David Ulrich? Just Google again. He's one of the top-end HR professors in the world. He was part of University of Michigan, right? He also works along with a few professors who have been closely associated with him. One of them being the person who actually defined the disruptive technology, etc., right? He's one of the most well-known HR professors. His name is David Ulrich. Also, he has one more professor working along with him on the HR space by name Wayne Brockbank, right? Wayne Brockbank is W-A-Y-N-E. Brockbank is B-R-O-C-K-B-A-N-K, Brockbank. And I hope that I spelled the second part right. This is easy. David Ulrich. You just get into any Google, just try to go through what he has said now. He has defined what are the competencies for the HR professionals as early as 1987. Didn't you ask me for global HR competencies? Yes or no? Please raise your hands. Raise your hands. That's the subject that you gave it to me, no? So we are actually getting into global HR competencies, which will be closer to any competency any one of you need to have, right? How well do HR professionals exhibit the identified competencies? What competencies influence perception of individuals' effectiveness and business results? What is the difference between 360-degree assessment and development center assessment? This I will give not big spot pen award. I think Aaron, something else you need to give. What is the difference between 360-degree assessment and development center assessment? Yep.
360 gives you a complete valuation of how you are perceived by your teams, whereas development centers are basically a place where what all potential is needed to be groomed.
She's 50% on dot. Who else? Okay, Indu, please go ahead. I should be unfair to you.
360 is measuring the perception of the people, and the assessment center is scientifically, statistically evaluated measure.
Okay, now I think both are only, fortunately I escaped this time. The Hindu thing also is only 50%. Now keep this in mind. 360 degrees is all about perception. My perception about Pandey is he's a great guy. This means what? You're a great guy, yeah, truly. That's a perception of Muthu on Pandey, right? Now if I put him in development center tomorrow, what they will do is, actually they will put him through a few exercises which will actually bring him real-time situation in the workplace for Pandey. They will try to recreate that. In the real work situation, how Pandey response will be measured, which means what? Pandey's assessment will be based on the capability. Okay?
Absolute assessment.
It's an absolute assessment of a work context is capability. It's an absolute assessment, no perception. It is closer to reality. What gets done in the development center is closer to reality, closer to capability. What gets done in 360 degrees is perception. For all you know, Pandey is a good guy. But I tell him, no, Pandey is okay. But, then you get a different picture. It's perception, right? Perception is important, but the reality is more important. Okay, so when this perception came, I wanted to bring about a clarity between these two, right? Now, the business result is all about individual effectiveness, which has everything to do with your development center, where the realistic of self gets assessed through those 7-8 competency what I spoke of. You can do development center for technical, functional, also you can do development center for organizational. Most times, development center gets done for organizational. Okay? Rest, your performance system, management system must be capturing the technical requirements of people as you do the PMP process. What HR department activities best predict business performance and value create? I'll come to this a little later. Now, who's from the tire business? Well, no, not such senior person. I want some junior person from tire business. Just raise your hand. Just raise your hand, please. Yeah, okay. I'll ask you a question. What's your market share in truck tires, radial? Somebody else? Who's there? 40%. Okay, it's his guess. If I would expect an answer that fast. Anybody else? Okay. What's your market share in not radial? Ordinary tire, four-wheeler cars. Okay. Now, third person. Who's that? JK Tires? You're from JK Tires? Okay, I'll ask you a different question. What is your institutional sales market share? OEs, OEMs.
So if I talk about PCR, we are around 27%.
BCR is what? Passenger car. 27%. Okay. Now, what am I trying to impress upon here? Now, as early as 1987, David Ulrich has said, an HR competency, 1/3 of his what?
Business knowledge.
Boss, you and I have no business to be there if I don't understand business. Why am I working for JK? To improve their business, to contribute to the improvement of business. Yes or no? Right? So the first quality attribute that we're talking about is the business knowledge. Okay? Second one is easy, which all of us will raise our hands. What is that? Huh? Sir, I've done 100 recruitments. I've retained 20 people. I rolled out increment. I did promotions. Right? Whatever else. I did 10 settlements, etc., etc., etc. Now, what is that? Business delivery. Most HR people end up doing this. But it makes no meaning unless you are able to connect yourself to the business. What is the third one? Tell me, in the past 10 years, right? Or past 10 years, past 1 year, just note it down on your pad. Tell me, don't tell me, just note it down on your pad. What is the impactful change that you brought for your organization through your role? Just answer from 1 to 10. 1 being the lowest, 10 being the highest. Just be shameless. The earlier that we be open with ourselves, the progress is going to be faster. Right? This is defined when? 19? How many of you are not born in 1987? Please raise your hands. Oh, look at that. Right? This was defined even before you were born. Right? Those are the competencies required at that point of time we defined. Let me move to the next one. 1992, it underwent some change. Let me read out since it's dark. The first one is business knowledge. What do you find in dark brown? Second one is HR delivery. Third one is change. Remains the same. What is the fourth one? What is personal credibility? To me, HR function is all about credibility. How do you build a credibility? Walk the talk. There are a number of things through which you can build credibility. Deliver to promise. Yes or no? Okay, now tell me, your business is not doing well. Touch wood, it's doing well, but let me bring the worst example. Tomorrow, next year, your business does a loss for about 50 crores on a turnover of 1,000 crores. Okay? Do you have the boldness to go tell people, listen, our business is not doing great. Okay? We need to take a hit. Either out of this 100 people, the low performance, 5%, 10%, we take them out. And as and when the opportunity is available, we can bring them back. This year, we will not go for an increment, or we will go for 50% of increment that we got last year. How many of you would tell this to your management staff, workmen, etc., etc.? Don't answer this question to me. Answer this question to yourself. You build personal credibility, right, when you are able to make meaningful, difficult, right decisions. Meaningful, difficult, right decisions. Make sense? That's how credibility gets built up. Not by coming to office at 8 o'clock in the morning and going back home at 8:30 in the evening. That's not all about credibility. That's a base hygiene factor. Meaningful, difficult, right decisions. Personal credibility gets built up tremendously. Sometimes it's tempting. I'm sharing a personal experience. One of those guys who work with us very closely as a partner for 7 years, I'm a pen lover, right? I must be having about 20 pens, ranging from maybe 2,000 rupees, about the latest. I mean, don't tell outside, not my wife. The latest one I bought is 2.5 lakhs. Right? I'm an ardent pen collector. It's one of the rare editions. I got the 100 numbers pen. I got number 9. Okay, now why I'm saying this is not because I'm putting I'm not patting myself, but the point is that's a hobby in me. Somebody came and presented a top pen Mont Blanc fountain pen. Right? So I told that no, I don't accept a gift more than 500 rupees, 1,000 rupees. That's how it gets defined. They said no, this is not, we are buying it. It has come from US, and they wanted us to give it to our top key and customers, or top customers of 10 customers in the country. And that person is known to me since the Airtel days, which is 2001 till 2017, 2015 this happened. Even Aaron may not know. Right? They pushed that pen to me beyond a point, and I didn't want to hurt him. But I told him, I will not keep this with me. Right? What I did was, I picked up a paper, wrote, sent it to chairman's office, handed over the pen. That would have cost about 70,000, 80,000 rupees at Mont Blanc fountain pen. Right? Then what happens? What happens? No. It's personal credibility. And I'm not answerable to anybody. Had I taken that pen, my chairman would not have known. Had it, even Aaron is my colleague, who I worked with for 10 years, I don't even he knows the story. Right? Now, I'm just giving an example of a personal credibility. Day first today, a consultant called me. I think she's from Delhi. A very nice person, has been interacting with me for about 8-9 years. Called me for breakfast at Hyatt. And she said, let's have breakfast in Hyatt. She comes to Chennai some once in 4 months, etc., provide support, etc. And I told her, if you're calling me out, okay, the breakfast cost is going to be on me. No, sir, it's not like that. No, sir, it's a part of our practice, etc. I said, the breakfast cost is going to be on me. Now, you build personal credibility. Keep that personal credibility aside. Now, you need to build organizational credibility. How do you build it? Delivering to the promise. Most important is taking rightful, tough, credible decisions in a given time. Today, people do not come and ask me boldly, they do not come and ask me what has happened to the increment rollout. No, Aaron checked with me in the morning, what's happening? He came and checked with a lot of hesitation. We actually gone down in terms of numbers, in terms of volume last year. The markets where it's supposed to rain, it did not rain well. So we lost some market share, we lost volumes. When they come and ask me, I ask them this simple question, with what face can I go and ask for an increase? I asked this question to the senior most people of my company. Credibility is all about that. We need to drive that credibility. Let me tell you, it's your responsibility and my responsibility to inject the thought into people. If the business don't do well, you have no right to demand things what is normally given. Yes or no? You might say, sir, they got a reserved wealth of 600 crores, why not they give out of that? Yes or no? Yeah, they will have reserved wealth because they invested. Yes or no? You and I have not invested. I'm getting onto a completely different context, right? I think credibility is all about that. So personal credibility was added in 1992, 1997, further change. What is it that has come in now? Culture. There's an interesting title related to culture. How many of you would like to answer this question? Interesting. I think, Thanu, please don't answer. I don't want you to answer. There's an interesting book title related to culture. Culture and strategy. I'm giving clues. Please just keep reading. Don't do anything. Go to airport, go to non-fiction stage, management stage, any airport, just browse through. You will know what are the top 10 books. I'm sure that you travel to airport every month once. Delhi, it's available in the W.L. Smith, is it? W.L. Smith, that's a bookshop. And you really have, there's some very, very interesting books. Or go to Google, say the top 10 books of last 6 months. Just browse through the page behind would give you an essence of what this book is all about. Culture Eats Strategy for Breakfast, correct? Just read that book, Culture Eats Strategy for Breakfast. So strategy is nothing in front of culture. Right? So the fifth element that got added by David Ulrich is your responsibility as an HR person is to, come on, Thanu, you want the tea to be served inside? Culture building is your responsibility, my dear friend. It's your responsibility and an HR person's responsibility with the promoters, with your organization. If you're working for a professional organization, it's important that you build a long-lasting business culture for the organization. Right? You will tell, no, this company, come what may, their profitability does not get hit. They ensure they make their money. Yes or no? Right? So it's one of the responsibilities of the HR person is again building the business culture. Aaron? Yep. So to 2002, we spoke about business knowledge, we spoke about personal credibility, we spoke about HR delivery. A couple of things have been added. Strategic contribution. What is strategy? What is strategy? Boss, all of us seems to be, you see this channel, not NDTV, those foreign channels, they do the windsurfing, right? Somebody writes on the crest, no? Most times we end up doing that without understanding fundamentals. What is the difference between strategy and being tactical? Please go back to your roots. Please go back to your books. It's important, right? Now, he talks about HR function, right? Giving some strategy contribution. Obviously, we can't build business strategy. You and I cannot build business strategy. But then, your HR strategy will have to be aligned to the business strategy, what the organization has got. You can't leave for today. You need to prepare yourself from the HR side for the organization to succeed itself for the business 5 years from now, 3 years from now, depending on the strategy. Okay? Skip 2011 to 7 for the time being. Let's get into the final one. The one before final, 2016 has come. That has come after I attended the program in 2014. 2016, he had developed one more model. So this model happened in 2012. An HR person is as an individual, is a credible activist. Who is an activist? Who is an activist? A person who stands up for people? Just an example. Yes or no? A person who stands up for people, right? Or a person who stands up for the organization in front of people. Yes or no? Yes. What is the character an activist will have? Come on. Have you seen those bishops and the nuns of Christianity? How many are Christians here? Okay, one. Now tell me, what's the characteristics that will stand out of a nun or a bishop? Conviction. What else? Conviction is good. Excellent. That's what I said, that you are able to stand up for your people in front of the organization, for the organization in front of the people. Yes. Huh? Belief. What else? Huh? Yeah, come closer. Wonderful. Determination. What else? Simple. Missionary zeal. What does a missionary do? Relentlessly work towards a purpose. Yes or no? That's a zeal an HR person should have and should be a credible activist. Okay? Activism is one. Credible activism is number two. Right? Now, whatever that you do, the personality of the HR person needs to be of that of a credible activist. I'm not complicating. Please understand the world is moving in a particular direction. We need to join the journey. There is a choice. It's like Bombay train. What happens in Bombay train? You have to be with the crowd. You need to float so that you get pushed in the compartment. Else what happens? 10 trains comes, you will get missed out. Be prepared for the journey. Either I take this or I don't. The choice is mine. If you want to become Tirunavakarasu 10 years from now, take it as fast as possible. Correct, no? For 5 years, okay. Right? I think just be prepared. Just be prepared. So the person needs to be a credible activist. Combined by, he needs to be a change champion. I spoke about change. How many of you are champions of change? Ma'am, this is age agnostic. This is religion agnostic. It is gender agnostic. It is agnostic in all contexts. Now, I keep challenging. How many Gen Y, how many people are below 30, 28? Just raise your hands. Just raise your hands. Put up your hands. I think if I was I would put up my hands like that. I still feel like raising my hand anyway. Right? Now, my dear friends, I think you guys talk about being confident. Yes or no? Wanting to take up challenge, etc., etc. Are you a credible activist? I keep planting this question in every young person available in my team. They only talk about this is what I want, this is what I want, work-life balance, I want to go to gym, etc. All that is fine, right? Are you picking up the right things, or are you picking up only things which are not relevant to what you are expected to do? Right? You need to be a credible activist, you need to be a risk taker, you need to have a zeal of a missionary. Yes or no? Right? Now, you need to be a change champion. How many of you have taken up changes within your system, changes within your organization that is impactful? HR innovation is the second one. Technology proponent. You should be the mouthpiece of technology in your own area within your organization. Last one is capability builder. It is simple. You build the capability of the organization, functional, leadership, yes or no? Third is organizational competency. Okay? So these four segments, as an HR person, I become responsible. Capability builder, technology proponent, HR innovator, then change champion, and you need to be a credible activist combined with strategic positioning. I presume JK has got 3 years HR strategy plan? 5 years you have, is it? It's a HR strategy plan. HR strategy plan. Wonderful. Wonderful. Okay, great. Just get yourself connected, what your role is, right, etc., etc. Right? This is an eventual one, the latest 2016 model. You actually become a total reward steward. You actually drive total rewards in an organization, financial and non-financial. I spoke about credible activist, spoke about technology and media integrator. This we can give it to you, not a problem. I'm just reading it out for want of time. Analytics designer, interpreter, compliance manager, strategic positioner, culture and change champion, human capital curator. Sounds a little jargonish, right? Most of it is very meaningful and makes an impact within the organization and within each one of you as an HR professional, provided we are willing to take up each one of them and take initiatives forward. Am I a process champion? Am I a function champion? Sorry? Okay, organization champion. Right? And people incidentally happens to be the role what you need to play. Right? It's organization and people. It's a fine balance. Right? You want a few examples for me to run through a few examples on leveraging technologies. I can take a simple example. Then innovative solution for managing people. You would like to listen to me? I leave the choice to you. Yeah? Two examples I will take that, the examples, Aaron, would you like to click that? The first one, I think you can get on to a simple one, which is related to leveraging technology to support their efforts to create high-performing organizations. Now, before getting into that, I will give 2 examples, then Aaron will take over from me. Okay? I'll ask you a question. How many of you measure the effectiveness of interviewing process in your organization? No? Okay, let me ask you a question. How do you know the people who have actually attended in the interview go with a positive image about your organization, the people that whom they interact with? When you interview a person, as much as you're assessing the person, what's happening on the other side? He also assesses the organization through you, number 1. Number 2, I don't get selected in the interview, what happens? I do not get selected in JK Tires, what happens? Huh? That's the immediate feeling. Go further. Huh? Okay, she said negative image. Why negative image? See, end of the day, not all the girls, I can't say that, but when I am going 35 years back, not all the girls whom I propose, I got them married to. Yes or no? Yes or no? So, therefore, I given up in life, and do I leave a very negative image about the girl? Yes or no? Fundamental things. So long as you make the experience meaningful, the person goes back with positive experience. Yes or no? Yes. Right? How many of you are measuring that? Okay, I'll just bring a case study which I've done for about past 1 year. Will you click that, Aaron? Oh, okay. This process is called Anubhav. I'm just taking a fundamental, simple thing what you and I can do. We don't need line person's permission. We don't need Thiru's permission. We don't need managing, etc., etc., etc. You as a business for your own area, assume that he is based out of, I'm just taking the place for example, Bijapur, cement plant. The HR person of Bijapur cement plant can actually tell him, boss, I'm trying to do something like this, I'm moving ahead. This is a very simple thing, try to find out that how am I going to be a positive proponent of JK Tire, TAFE, MRF as a company when I go back to the marketplace. Okay? So, Anubhav is a survey we actually initiated, and Anubhav is administered within 24 hours of employee attending the interview. Which means what? I come and attend the interview with TAFE today. Within 24 hours, I get a mail in my mailbox with a set of questions. Right? And in that, I rate 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, depending on my experience. Tell me, I'll ask you a simple question. Once I attend the interview in JK, I get a questionnaire to find out my experience. How is my feeling? Huh? No. They won't even know whether they have been recruited or not recruited, because within 24 hours, we don't even communicate. We are talking about the interview experience. So how would I feel? No, I would feel elated because I'm being respected. Somebody is trying to ask me how my experience has been. Yes or no? Right? So he gets a question within 24 hours. He answers this question. Right? Now, there is a monthly analysis that gets done. My teams are functionally verticalized. There is an engines HR team. There is an Eicher Tech HR team. Then Eicher Tech, there is a sales and marketing HR team. There is an operations HR team. Within operations materials, R&D, etc., etc., etc. Right? Now, each one of them, for the number of candidates who attended interview, right, survey is done. They will come back with the results and say, yeah, on 5 factors, 50 candidates attended interview. They rated interview experience in the following. Do you have a question there? It's not there, is it? Okay, they will, we can get the question if you'd like. I think we can talk to somebody and send it across. And the question that they will say that my interview waiting time, I was not comfortable. It would have been about 3 out of 5. Okay, then what we do is, when you have the monthly HR review, businesses, whichever is lacking in that particular part, we tell them you need to improve from 3 to 3.5 over a period of time. So there is a tracking mechanism that happens out of interview experience of all the candidates attending interview across the company. In my monthly review, I will exactly know what the Anubhav experience has been. Anubhav by itself is an experience, right? For all those candidates attending interview across the country, right? Also, we don't stop at that. On a continuous basis, people who are actually part of interview panel, we do interviewing skills program, a 2-day program where they get certified. Now, a guy who has lost a job with me is an ambassador for me. There are a number of people who have told us, does not matter that we don't get selected, we have had an excellent interviewing experience. He becomes my brand ambassador, right? So the survey gets done. The purpose is to create brand ambassadors who go and talk about the experience of your organization. He could be your future employee. He may say, this time I missed out in TAFE. 3 years from if I get an opportunity, I'll come back. Yeah.
So what is the possibility that the candidate give a positive feedback after things if it is less scoring because the feedback is
Okay, you got a point. I have not developed a test which has been validated, which has been put through a reliability instrument. I have not done that at all. I'm assuming that the person is being honest. I'm assuming the person has nothing to lose, nothing to gain, etc., etc. In fact, everybody does not respond in 24 hours. Half the time, the people who respond are people who have not been called back for the final interview. Not everybody responds back in 24 hours time. Some of them, we get it after 20 days after they follow it up. My test is not we will not put through a psychometric standardization, not at all. But the point is, I get the experience. It's all about perception. Right? Now, then there is an HR review meeting takes place where the action plan gets built up. Then interview delayed for TAFE prospect. This cycle goes on. It's something which happens all the time on a continuous basis. Don't need investment. Something that gets developed internally. Number 3, you are actually talking about the experience to a candidate. You are making use of technology. I'm not talking about high-end technology. I'm not talking about big data. I'm not talking about data analytics. I'm talking about a simple tool. Yes or no? Right? Now, you need to take all this up, talk about it. Not only they'll talk about these things to the HR person, line people, I go talk to them and go and present to them. If my manufacturing department experience has not been good, we will talk to the divisional manager of manufacturing. Somewhere the experience of the candidate in manufacturing has not been great, we should do something about it, so build up an action plan. Right? Okay, Aaron, just move to the next example. Any more slides on this? Okay, go back to the other one. Yeah, go to that offer integrated and what's that, innovate HR. Just go and click that. Let's see what example is there. Very complex it looks, isn't it? Okay, now it has become 3090, 180. When we started this, when we started this in the year 2007, 10 years now. Okay, what's all this about? It has won some awards, but that award didn't mean much to us. We had 68% attrition of employees leaving the company within 18 months of joining. 68% attrition within 18 months of joining. Sounding very familiar, especially the front line. Yes or no? Yes or no? Right? This happened in 2008. What's the attrition rate within 18 months today? Huh? It's 7%. It has been brought down from 68% to 7%. Have you approached any high-end consultants to do this job? Okay, it's an HR-initiated tool, right? Now, 68% of the newly joined left the company within 18 months. That is less than 2 years. I'm starting it here, right? That came out of attrition analysis. That's a problem identification, right? Then we did something called RJES, Recently Joined Employee Survey. This means what? I circulate a questionnaire to employee online to find out experience on 4 things. Number of questions were, Aaron? 18 or 16? 18 questions. Talking about job, boss, learning, induction. Okay? Induction, job, boss, learning. 18 questions. We tried to measure where employees' satisfaction lies under these 4 segments. Okay? Everybody got this questionnaire within 18 months. Right? So we actually covered, 2008, we covered 306 employees. Then they reflected some information on the questionnaire. Right? Did we stop at that to act on? Yes or no? We did not. What we did was, we called them in groups in different departments. Okay? There are 20 of them in R&D. Instead of HR person having a focus group discussion, we brought an external facilitator who would sit with those 20 people, find out why they answered the way they answered. Right? With these 20 people in a particular function, an external facilitator came and sat for about half a day to find out why they answered the way they answered. Right? They gave some input. For example, we were told induction was not taking place properly. I'm given an induction schedule, I go and sit with the boss, that particular person is not available in this table. Right? I go to a particular department, he is not giving me time, 10 minutes we shoot me off. So I do not know neither about the organization nor about the function that I'm getting into. What was the action plan and what we came out with? We actually introduced a process called Swagat. Anybody who has joined within 30 days in the company will undergo 3 days of induction. They will come to Chennai, Bhopal, Alwar, depending on whichever business they are connected to. They will undergo 3 days of induction. 1 day of factory visit, 1 hour of each function, senior person coming to and talking to them all about what this function is all about, what this function is doing for the organization. So actually in those 3 days, the person started understanding, I am part of a larger system. I understand a function which is beyond my own function. Am I connecting? You actually enabled him to start settling into the company. So Swagat is something which we started introducing in the year 2009, point number 1. After 60 days, then we went on to, this process got matured, we went to 60 days. After 60 days, whether you are aware of your KRA, after 30 days, whether the job description has been defined to you, right? We kept asking this question, started getting input on that. So facilitated with a consultant, the HR team started doing action planning, right? Not only we stopped with the action planning, we got back to them and told them, we had focus group discussion, this is what you said, this is the points that we as a company acted upon. Keep this in mind, judgment not only should be delivered, it should appear to have been delivered. Yes or no? Yes or no? You have the response. If you do an open house, if Thuru does an open house in JK Siemens, at some point of time, Thuru will have to get back and tell them, 10 points raised, 4 points solution found, 3 points under 3 months, other 3 points we will not act upon. Right? The same way for every focus group discussion, respective HR team got back, sent a mail or put it on a notice board. These are the things that we have done based on the feedback what we received from you. Okay? We must have done about 150 focus group discussion. In these 8-9 years, we must have done about 150 focus group discussion. Let me tell you, it is not a rocket science. Every HR person sitting over here is as good as a consultant from Evan Evett, or as good as a consultant from PwC, provided you are willing to take up the role, listen to people, work on the problem, whatever they're talking about, related to boss, related to induction, related to learning, related to the job. Right? So we acted on those problems, communicated back to them. The attrition came down to 28% in 4 years. Attrition, which was 68%, was brought down to 28%. Now this went on, right? RJES slowly became 30-90, 180 because the maturity became much better and better. So after joining, after 30 days, one questionnaire goes. After 90 days, one questionnaire goes. After 180 days, one questionnaire goes. This is standardized processes. No consultant worked with us. It's our own HR team which worked on this. Now we have brought down the attrition from 68% to today, the attrition is at 7%. We have something called Critical Success Factor Project. It's a cross-functional project. We work with Warwick School. They have put the system in place, right? Now, this is one of the CSO projects what we have. So, this means what? This means building the credibility. No line person come and tell us that you are having what? Infant mortality. Yes or no? As soon as some child is born, within 18 months, the child is no more, right? I think we put a process in place, and let me tell you something. To build credibility, it is not something overnight, it takes time. How many years this process has taken? To bring it down to 8%, it has taken 10 years, 9 years, right? So things don't happen overnight, and we could bring it down to about 28% in 3 to 4 months' time, 3 to 4 years' time. Okay? These are two examples that I wanted to share with you, how we make use of technology, okay, to build the brand image of the company, to build the experience of an employee who's actually coming in, sitting for an interview, wanting to join the company. How do you improve the interviewing experience? Point number one. Second one, I brought it to that how we are able to build value to the business by retaining people in the front end. Most of these people are the front end who have joined the last 18 months. If you would actually do an analysis, 80% of these people will be less than 30. They will all be your frontline managers, frontline sales executives, or your shop floor engineers. Right? These two I wanted to share. The third one would be related to productivity. Right? This is what I was talking about. 18 months, newly joined survey we did. Then it became 30, 90, 180. We actually, interestingly, we do a lot of internal employee branding. You don't have to get a consultant. Just work on it. Get somebody to provide an ad agency to sit with you. Everything we brand. If you want to visit our place, you please come. And you are based out of Chennai. If there is a PMP season, there is a branding, both e-branding, poster branding, competition branding. If PMP, right? If there is an RJES, there is a branding that goes on. Every one of their mobile phone had this sticker, 30, 90, 180 day survey. The people who joined actually put the sticker. If you actually go to the table of people, it would have competency if you're propagating competency. If there's a development center, there are posters all around, right? You actually generate the enthusiasm by communicating to people, by reiterating through the medium what is easily visible to them. Yeah, I think Aaron will have to go back. Go back. Go next slide. Yeah, I can do that. I can do that. I have to come back to the original slide, Alan. No? You'll have to go back to the original presentation. No, it's not moving further. That's it, is it? Okay, that's your presentation. Just give me a moment. So what all is, before I hand it over to Aaron, how much of patience do you have? It's 4 o'clock. My presentation is supposed to get over at 4:35. Correct, no? 2:35 to? 4 or 4:35? 4 and 5, is it? 4 and 5. Okay, we'll try to complete in about 20-25 minutes time. You would like to have some 2 minutes bio break? Not required. Okay, great. So what are the things I spoke to you about? I spoke to you about competency. I spoke to you about functional competency. I'll give you the definition of what competency is about. I spoke to you about leadership competency. I spoke to you about organizational competency. I spoke to you on what 360-degree is, what it measures. I spoke to you on what development center is all about. I spoke on, after speaking about all this competency, I spoke to you on HR competencies, right? On HR competencies, I spoke about the model that was introduced as a HR global competency by David Ulrich as early as 1996. Then as later as 2002, then we spoke on 2007, went on to 2002, 2012, and we came back to the 2016 competency, 2016 what he defined. 2 areas where we could not actually connect. We were good at HR delivery, yes or no? Understand business knowledge, limited. That's a realization for ourselves. Number 2, change, exactly. Change management is one thought that we felt that we could have been better. The last one which I wanted to focus on was on, wonderful, credible activist. I'm a credible activist. Now, one more point that I brought about was our strategy. So what strategy is all about? Difference between strategy and being tactical, ability to link ourselves to the overall strategy through the HR strategy. Now I'll ask Aaron to, then finally one more thing I defined. What is the purpose of our existence in the company? For? Exactly, Mr. Pandey. Productivity. To me, why am I in a company? To improve productivity of the people so that business becomes better, right? Now, I'll ask Aaron to present in about 15-20 minutes. We did a productivity project. We got a partner. I never experienced doing productivity project for white-collar employees across the company till about 32 years. I think now, 2.5 years, we got connected, searching for a partner. We finally got a partner to work with. We did some wonderful work in the area of white-collar productivity. I'll just tell Aaron to take you through for about 15 to 20 minutes, and we'll close with that with question and answers. Over to you, Aaron.